Chapter 14, Paris's Triumphant Welcome to the Bishop of Geneva. In 1618, once again, the Duke of Savoy prevailed upon Francis for a diplomatic mission. He was to accompany one of the Duke's sons, the young Cardinal Maurice of Savoy, to Paris to arrange the marriage of the sister of Louis XIII, King of France, with one of the Duke's other sons, Prince Victor Amédée. Charles Emmanuel was seeking an alliance with France and thus sought a marriage with King Louis XIII's family. A statue of this king is found in Paris in the Place des Vosges, the royal living quarters built by his father Henry IV, but never used by him. It is still in use today as luxury apartments. Louis XIII was born on September 27, 1601. This painting from the Louvre commemorates his birth. Shortly after Louis's birth, his father, Henry IV, conferred the regency on his mother. In the event of Henry's death before his son was old enough to reign, his mother would govern in fact. In 1610, when his father was murdered, Louis became king. As he was still a child, his mother, Marie de Medici, became regent, as is depicted here. She ostensibly helped him in making decisions, but really was the ruler. On October 20th, 1614, Louis reached the required age. He was just 13. His coming of age is depicted in another of the series of massive paintings by Rubens now found in the Museum of the Louvre called Louis XIII Gains His Majority, that is, comes of age. Although he had come of age, Marie de Medici, his mother, continued to govern for 3 more years. During that time, in November 1615, she had arranged a marriage for him with Anne of Austria, daughter of the Spanish king Philip II, as part of her policy of allying France with Catholic Spain. Louis and his mother grew apart once he became of age. Louis began to take advice from Cardinal Richelieu. Richelieu's statue is one of those found on the exterior of the Louvre at the 2nd floor level. Francis would meet Richelieu in the course of his diplomatic mission. Richelieu became such an influence that a section of the Louvre was eventually named after him. His influence crowded out Marie de Medici, and she was practically exiled to Blois, a city about 100 miles southwest of Paris. When she heard about the wedding of her daughter, Christine, with Victor Amédée of Savoy, she became enraged, since she had not been consulted nor invited to the wedding on February 10, 1619. Marie de Medici found this so intolerable that she escaped from Blois about 2 weeks later, depicted in another painting by Rubens in the Louvre. Yet a short time later, Marie was reconciled with her son, as depicted here. Anne of Austria, wife of Louis XIII, daughter of Philip II of Spain, had a convent constructed in Paris called Val de Grâce, a Valley of Grace, in return for having had a son. He would become King Louis XIV. Here is the interior of Val de Grâce. Anne of Austria was the mother of Louis XIV and was herself regent until he came of age. We see Anne's name in Latin high above the main altar. Louis XIII would eventually consecrate all of France to Mary, the Mother of God, as depicted in this window of the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, which is located high on a hill in the Montmartre section of the city. While in Paris, Francis made the acquaintance of Vincent de Paul. Vincent had a great love for the poor and the sick. He set up religious congregations of his own. This painting is found at the church on Rue de Bac, where his congregations began. Jane and Francis had established a monastery of the Visitation at Paris. They arranged for Vincent to become the ecclesiastical superior of this monastery. Both Francis and Vincent are depicted in another painting at the Sacré-Cœur and in its stained glass windows. Vincent is also depicted at Val-de-Grâce. He labored for decades with the Visitandines in Paris. Jane and Francis are found in the stained glass windows of the Sacré-Cœur Basilica in Montmartre, high above Paris. Much later he would meet with Mother Angélique Arnauld, a person of strong will and stern but effective leadership. Mother Angélique had reformed the Sisters of Port Royal. Later she put herself under Francis' spiritual direction. He had some calming influence upon her. She even asked the Pope to let her become a Visitandine. The Pope waited and waited to respond. In the meantime, Francis had to leave Paris, and Angélique placed herself under another spiritual director, Saint Cyran.